Hey, how we doing, everybody? Been holding off on doing anything related to the stimulus until we actually get something passed. Looks like we're getting close to that stage, but we thought we were going to get there on Monday and Tuesday before the Democrats backed it so they could try to add some of their pork into it. Obviously, I'm sure there's some Republican pork in there as well, so we'll have to see what the final bill looks like. I've been meaning to do a video like this because the checks are going to be coming out. Once it looked like it was going to pass soon, I had thought, okay, well, now it's time to put a video out like this. So let me show you something real quick here. First off, coronavirus scams to watch out for. We'll read through this article, but I want to show you a couple other things real quick before we do. First thing here from Mad Money, this was about 6 days ago, and this is actually what made me think about doing something to begin with as we got closer. But CrowdStrike reports a real uptick in phishing campaigns during coronavirus crisis. We'll just read through the main points here real quick. We've seen a real uptick in phishing campaigns using COVID-19 and malware associated with that in these emails, CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz told CNBC. When there's chaos and there's fear in the street, that's when the adversary tends to strike hardest, he said in a Mad Money interview. As these remote users get up and running with their own stacks, whether it's Zoom or Slack, they're going to need protection like CrowdStrike. And we're there for them, he said. Yeah, okay, thanks, whatever. The coronavirus outbreak has exposed a new pathway for hackers to prey on vulnerable victims, CrowdStrike's CEO George Kurtz told CNBC's Jim Cramer Friday. So skipping ahead a little, cyber scams was said to have rose 40% at one organization. A phishing scam is one. Yeah, okay, we know what a phishing scam is. Now is the time when there's chaos and there's fear and people are worried about their family and they're not in the office that they're going to strike. Kurtz said, here we go, here's the meat of it. The comments come one day after CrowdStrike, a cybersecurity company that offers threat intelligence and cyber attack response services, reported a top and bottom line beat in its January quarter. Total revenue grew 89% year over year to $152 million, powered by 99% growth in its subscription revenue, which came in at $436 million. All right, maybe I need to take a look at that and see if that's an investable option there for me. But I think we see the point here. While his advice may be practical, maybe he's trying to drive fear a little bit. Be skeptical. I'm not saying he is, but just be skeptical when you hear somebody say, hey, there's going to be all these threats. They're going to get you, mom and pop, but we've got the solution. Or the same thing for companies. We've got the solution. I'm not saying it's not totally legit, but I'm just saying be careful because this guy telling me about a scam, hey, he could be scamming as well to get your money. So like I said, we always want to take in all the information, think it through, then make the decision that's best for us. Now, that's one. Let me show you another. Stimulus check scammers ask you to sign up for a PayPal account. Don't do it. Do not give anyone your PayPal account information, social security number, bank account number, or anything else if someone claims such information is essential to sign you up for a stimulus check related to the coronavirus pandemic. It's not. It's a scam. It's time to warn consumers that once again, we need to practice some real social distancing from the scammers. Okay, I like how you work that in there. Michigan Attorney General on Thursday issued what she called an urgent consumer alert relating to scammers who play up federal stimulus checks. In other states, the Better Business Bureau has reported that the level of stimulus scams has gone through the roof, and there you go. The real stimulus cash is likely to hit bank accounts within the next 3 weeks or later. But taxpayers do not have to sign up to get the money. Checks are expected to take longer, and yes, some people could experience delays. So I think we get the gist there. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. I'm sure most of you know this stuff already. The main thing is if you have like a younger person, maybe who's not as financially savvy yet, or an older parent or grandparent, just stay in their business. Make sure to let them know to not fall for any of this stuff because that's what they always say. The older individuals are the ones who are most likely to fall for this and those who aren't tech savvy. So look out for your people, everybody. Make sure they don't fall prey to some idiot overseas in Nigeria or India or Russia or China trying to pull some BS scam. And that being said, we've got plenty of scammers here in the US, no doubt. So look out for your people, everybody. Now with this article, this is actually UK based, so keep that in mind. But it's something that we can perhaps apply to our situations here in the US as well. Scammers are scammers around the world. They'll try anything they can do to go ahead and get money from Granny. So make sure she's safe, everybody. All right, so let's get to it. Coronavirus scams to watch out for. Okay, so this is on MSN Money, the original article I was talking about, coronavirus scams to watch out for. We'll just try to get through the headlines real quick and kind of buzz through some of these. I don't want this video getting too long, before you get bored to death and you're like, oh my God, I'd rather be scammed than listen to this guy talk for any longer. Number one, scams targeting the elderly, what I said. It's no secret that older people are supposed to stay indoors for the foreseeable, since they are at a far greater risk of suffering serious consequences should they fall ill. This apparently has led some scammers to knocking on their doors under the proviso of offering to help get shopping as a way of gaining entry into the property and robbing it. Wow, that's pretty that's pretty serious. So this is actually something that we have a community message board where I live, and this is actually something that I offered for individuals, more specifically like my neighbor, because she's elderly and she actually had cancer recently. So I offered to assist her if she needed any help with anything. But that's how it is. People are actually showing up on your doorstep. So I said, advise your people. If some weirdo comes to the door, tell Granny to tell him to beat feet. Oh, here's something interesting. A police chief in Cheshire, this is England obviously, has also warned of reports of people posing as Red Cross, visiting elderly people and offering to test them for coronavirus in exchange for a fee. My God. Scammers are good, man. You got to give them credit. They are ingenious. They think of the most ridiculous things. Once you read it, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But it's like you would never think they would be able to come up with some of these things. They're ridiculous. Scams targeting the ill or worried. Action Fraud reports seeing a host of coronavirus-related scams preying on the fears of people around the virus. In many cases, these are revolved around selling products related to protecting yourself, whether that be for face masks, hand sanitizer, or some other item. Victims have been tricked into spending money on these products, only for them to never arrive. And like I've talked about before, and like you've heard about, hand sanitizers, people are charging 50, 60, 70 bucks for those little bottles of it, wipes. Fortunately, Amazon, eBay, all those sites knock that stuff down. So same kind of thing here. Just be careful what you're buying. Be careful where you're shopping. Shop from only legitimate sites that you know of, maybe that you've used before. Something here talking about free school meals scams targeting parents. Some parents have been on the receiving end of scam text emails about free school meals. The messages claim that if the recipient's children are entitled to free school meals, they can continue to receive financial support even while the schools are closed, simply by replying and including their bank details. Oh yeah, okay, that's okay. Brilliant. All right, this is of course a scam, but it's become sufficiently widespread that the Department of Education has issued public warnings. Remote access scams target home workers, which is what the CrowdStrike CEO was talking about. The National Crime Agency has warned that it expects to see significantly more people vulnerable to computer service fraud. This is where dodgy people try to convince you to give them access to your computer or hand over your login details and passwords in order to solve some invented issues with your system. I don't know if any of you have ever looked. Do a search on YouTube for some of these scammer type things, and there's actually a couple larger users out there who go around scamming the scammers. I've watched a couple videos of those. They're funny. They're able to, they act like they're dumb on the computer, and the individual, it's always been in India, I believe. The individuals in India think that they're taking over the person's computer, but then that individual, he's in turn taking over their computer, deleting all their files and all that stuff. So it's pretty good if you ever want to see the scammers get theirs. Just Google some of those videos on YouTube or Bitchute or wherever you're watching this video at. Financial scams, extortionate rates and fees. Finally, there have been warnings about scams that are specifically related to money doing the rounds as a result of the coronavirus situation. National trading standards, again, this is a UK story, so we don't have a national trading standards here. We'd have an equivalent, obviously, but it said here it expected illegal moneylenders to prey on people's financial hardships by lending money at extortionate rates and demanding enormous fees with the threat of violence should the victim fail to repay. And that's loan sharking every day. Threats of violence, extortionate rates, yeah. You're going to have a situation where people aren't at work, perhaps they're getting desperate, perhaps maybe the stimulus check isn't enough, maybe they spend beyond their means and they can't curtail that to get used to the new normal, so perhaps they fall victim. I don't know about the whole illegal moneylender thing, but we've got enough of these payday loan companies here in the US, so we'll see how that goes. Just another thing to be aware of. I just wanted to share a few pieces of financial information with you, just in case you're one of those individuals who's going to be getting a check for yourself, family, loved ones, kids, whoever. If you've got younger children who are away from the home, if you've got older parents, grandparents, individuals that may be incapacitated in some way, not wise with money, just make sure to look out for them. Make sure that they don't fall victim to this stuff, because There's a lot of concern, there's a lot of fear going on. You can thank a large portion of that to the media and some of the politicians that want to drive the fear narrative. So just make sure that they're not getting wrapped up in the whole fear thing where they feel they have to do something desperate. And one other thing I wanted to add, I don't know how likely these are, but just something I think about being in the finance profession and all that, but investment type scams. It's something to always be on the lookout for, something that promises a certain guaranteed rate of return. Hey, you've got your stimulus check, this, and that, right? Do you want to turn that $1,200 into $20,000 overnight? Invest in flybynightbusiness.com, something ridiculous like that. Another more subtle thing I've noticed, and I wanted to do a separate video on this, but in my area, perhaps some of you have seen these commercials as well in the US, for those of you watching here, but I believe it's Hyundai, Subaru, and Chevy or Ford. I want to say it's Chevy. Those companies, now I see their commercials. Oh, due to the COVID-19, we're here for you. We're here to offer you this lease. We're here to offer you this new truck at no interest. So it's a more subtle way of trying to take advantage of people under the guise of pretending like you care for them. Oh, we care, so come in and get that zero interest loan on that brand new truck. We even practice social distancing and you can pick it up at the curb. There was a local Mercedes-Benz commercial here talking about the same kind of thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I understand you got to make money to stay alive. And I love me some capitalism, baby. I do, 1,000,000%. Now's not the time for that. People are out there losing their jobs, possibly struggling. And you're out here playing off the COVID-19 and coronavirus fears, trying to pretend like you care about people. So again, it's just the subtle kind of thing, the subtle, I'm not going to call it a scam, but the subtle way they're willing to help separate you from your stimulus check or other money that you may have. So like I've said about any of these things, just be careful with your money. Now's not the time to be going out buying these exorbitant things unless you have a lot of money. Time to cut back a little bit and just be wise with your money, everybody. Help your own self. Don't depend on the government to get through this stuff. I don't want to see that for any of you. I want to see all of you in a good financial situation, and I don't want to see anybody getting scammed. So thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hopefully this will help some of you out. And like I said, look out for your people and your loved ones. Make sure they don't fall victim to any of this stuff. Take care, everybody.